At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more. All right, joining me now is Bill McSciFi McCormick. How are you today?
I am wonderful, Meredith. How's the world treating you?
Oh, it's, I keep doing these damn events and, my world is crazy busy. And then I get to sleep for a day.
Sounds about right. We've been, I've been, just talking to lots of people here lately in Chicago. I think I actually used every single possible video platform, one right after another one morning. I went through like 7 of them. It was like, wow. That was fun.
Well, while we've got you here, you're on the big screen. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where we can find you, and what you do, because you do a lot.
I get that. And no, I don't. I just write. I write comic books. I write novels. I write a movie script. I write short stories. I write anthology pieces. But all I do really, when you get it boil it all down, is I just write. I tell stories day in and day out. And but yeah, I'm Bill McSciFi McCormick. I got the nickname from an Amazon rep who screwed up my webpage, my old author page at Amazon. So I kept the nickname and moved my author page. But so yeah, you can find me everywhere. I'm Bill McSciFi. You find me at BillMcSciFi.com. You'll find me Bill McSciFi on Twitter, Bill McSciFi on Facebook, Bill McSciFi on Instagram, Bill McSciFi on Pinterest. You might see a theme here. You can find me. I don't hide. I got several comic book series out now. I've got a brand new one kicking out in September. I'm really excited about. It'll be my first teen comic. It'll be my second true teen comic, where I'm really thrilled about it. So,
are you kickstarting that or doing any kind of crowdfund?
Nope. I got an angel investor, and they've seen my other work, and I've lately been attracting the attention of venture capitalists who want to get in to do something in the arts and entertainment community. That's how I got the movie deal. I did a Kickstarter a couple of years ago for Legends Parallel, and it all ended up on my plate, and it failed miserably. And I don't want to do that again. I find having a direct relationship with the investors works a lot better. It's a one-on-one thing. They know where they're getting their return from, because when you set it up with a venture capitalist or something, all the money goes to them until they recoup, and then it comes back to you. It's kind of like an old record deal in the old days, except it's not $250,000. I don't get a limo, and there's no free cocaine. But minus those lacks, it's a good way to work. And I've been very, very, very careful about who I'm working with. And so I got, like I said, I got stuff out. I got more stuff coming out. Got a couple licensing deals that we're putting into place this fall, one for Africa and one for England, and just keep them busy.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop your website into the chat here so that gets shared out. BillMcSciFi.com. But so tell us about I guess the most recent comic book, and I've also seen. I want to say I've seen music videos.
Yeah, I used to. I was an executive producer for a record company, and I did a lot of music videos, all over the world. And then recently, actually, as part of a promotion for Legends Parallel, we teamed up with Kid Baudet. He's a rapper. He just recently appeared at the BET Awards in California. An amazing kid. But we hooked up with him and used the Pisces War as a soundtrack for a video commercial that we did for Legends Parallel. And he loved it. I loved it. We've got pictures of everybody together, and we all wearing T-shirts and stuff. So it looked good. So I'm still involved with music. I still love music. I just don't really the business end of it doesn't make me happy anymore. It's all gone. So I like doing what I'm doing instead. But yeah, the most recent comics that we got out are these. Let me pull them up here. Dun-dun-dun-dun. These are. Can I show them? Yeah, there we are. Make sure I don't. There we go. Hybrid Zero. This one here is called Juggernaut, and this is 2 different titles. It's called get over there, Jungle Girl and Cassandra and the Changeling Sword, and they're all part of the same multiverse. This gets really confusing. The Hybrid Zero multiverse is basically a multiverse where consensual sex is lauded, sexuality is celebrated, violence is taboo, but a family of assassins may be the only hope for the multiverse. and they're genetically modified because, of course, mom needs a tail and giant boobs. It's very violent, very weird, very, very fun. I was a fan of this, and then I got looped back into actually writing it. I did not write the first 10 years of this, but I have written these last 2 years of it, and we got it nationally distributed. We've got it out now in several markets. It's won us fans. The Hybrid Zero Multiverse. A little quick story here because everyone loves a fun story. There's a group of British Asian women who live in Britain. They work in the adult entertainment industry. And they discovered Hybrid Zero, and it's legal over in England. So, God bless. They pay their taxes, they get their benefits. But they ran across Hybrid Zero, and even though some of them don't really speak that much English, because it's so eye-popping, the colors and the graphics in it are just. See if I can give you a quick example here. Yeah, this is like a splash page in Hybrid Zero.
Yeah, let me get you up on the big screen.
Yeah. Let me see if I can move this in here. Yeah, there we go. But this is just an amazing piece of graphic, and it's not really showing up too good because I'm too close. But it's as detailed as a painting, and every page is like that. And they fell in love with that. They loved that. And then a couple of girls translated the story, and they thought the story was fun, and they started sharing stuff on Twitter that, hey, I read this, hey, I read that, here I read this, and we ended up with a fan club of them. There's like 10 different groups that started talking, and then all of a sudden, this one distributor reached out to me and said, I noticed you have a fan club that's very Asian-leaning in England, and I had to laugh and explain the whole thing to them. And I talk to some of them a couple of times a week. We stay in touch. So the distributor's thinking, it's kind of going to be like a licensed distribution because it's pointless for me to print the stuff in America, ship it to London. It'll be $35 a comic on the streets. But to keep the price down, we'll ship them the PDF. They can print them and then license them and distribute them. And I think that's what we're going to do in Africa too. We're going to be a part of a convention there, the iNDEEvent convention, this November. We were going to fly out and do it in August, this week, actually. But I don't know, you might have heard a rumor, there's this thing called COVID-19.
How is that affecting you guys? And that hasn't been shut down?
Oh, boy. It's affected us tremendously.
Here in the U.S., but you're talking about Africa.
Africa, Nigeria, they have functioning adults there. So they're actually staying pretty much on top of it. They're rolling things out, but like the convention would be 20,000 people. No, they're not doing that. They're not putting 20,000 people in an indoor setting. They're not stupid. So the convention's getting clammed, but we're going to do it digitally and, do the best we can with it. But yeah, here in America, summer's in my convention time. So I'm out like every other week selling books, saying hi to people, signing stuff. And right now I'm just like sitting at home and I've got a living room full of books. So feel free to buy them, just reach out and buy them. And
that's why we want to direct people to BillMcSciFi.com. That's where we can buy your books directly, right?
Yep. Yeah, you can buy everything. Anything I have in stock, you can buy directly from BillMcSciFi.com. And I've got a couple of things that I have not gotten back in stock yet, but I can do print on demand for you from our private printer, not from Amazon or something else. It's I have a private printer, so it doesn't cost me $35 to print a full color comic. So we do that, and that way people don't have to pay extra or anything like that. I try and keep prices consistent on everything we do. And
well, one of the things that I love to ask guests, and we have a little bit of time here, is the genesis story. How did you find this love of comic books to create that, and even some of the storytelling, because you have novels as well. Was it like the first choice? Was it the only choice, or was it something that you kind of fell into?
I fell face first into it. I've been writing nonfiction since like about 1986. I'd written for music magazines and sports magazines and blogs and all sorts of stuff, and that was fun. I loved it. But then about 2010, I was going through a really rough period in my life. I was getting a divorce and blah, blah, blah. And they say the demons in your head kind of thing. Well, I had some nasty ones. So I decided it was either going to basically kill myself or get these things out on paper. So I started writing out my stories. And as I was doing it, I realized I had some good stories there. They were poorly written because I was just like first draft, rough draft. But I started writing these stories. And then in 2011, a company called Bewildering Stories out on the West Coast, I submitted a story to them called Vorbliss, which they sent me back a 2-page rejection letter, specifically noting the fact that there were 47 F-bombs and they were a Christian company, so this is a bad fit, but that they thought the story itself was so amazing that if I had something else that didn't have a wall of F-bombs in it, they would be interested in taking a look at that. So I sent them out another story called "And the Beat Goes Phut," P-H-U-T. And it's a story about a disc jockey in the future who witnesses like a techno apocalypse. And they thought that was great. And they released it. And they were originally going to release it on September 11th, 2011. The 10-year anniversary, famous anniversary in America here. And my protagonist, the antagonist, was Muslim. And I was like, wow, you guys have got some balls. I mean, dropping this story on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. Wow. And they hadn't thought of that. So it got pushed back to November. But it got pushed back to November and people liked it. And Bewildering Stories released a couple more things from me. I won an award, 2013, an Editor's Choice Award for science fiction. And wrote The Brittle Riders, which eventually got published by Azoth Chem in 2016. Anyway, as all that was happening, as Brittle Riders was actually still in the process of coming out, it hadn't come out yet. A guy named Brian Daniel reached out to me from Hadithi Sambaba Comics, and he's like, I've got this mess. And he did. He had 64 characters that were written out that were supposed to be part of one story. And I'm like, no. That's just too many. No one's going to remember all these people. So we started playing around with it, and I wrote a script for it, and it was a very nice script if it was being made into a movie. Dorothy Jean, who does a comic called Spirit's Destiny, we sent her the script. She sent it back to me in tatters, just completely shredded it because it was a bad comic book script. And it was one of those things where she's like, you know what, don't waste my time anymore. Here's a link to how to write a comic book script. And I went and looked at that and I went, oh, this is different. And it is very, very different than any other form of writing. So I wrote it down, and then Brian said what he wanted was like a 12-story arc, so he could have this kind of epic arc that could then be packaged into different things. So that's what I wrote. I wrote a 12-story arc for it, and we put the first comic out, and we were a little concerned because it's got some nudity in it. It's got it's very LGBTQIA friendly. The lead character is African American. I mean, we basically all the things you're supposed to do to have a good comic these days, according to Comicsgate, we did none of them. Mm-hmm. And then it came out, and Comic Book with an ED at the end.com gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and different places started going, whoa, this is something you really need to read. And Brian went, I think we're onto something here. And we've done a couple more issues. We're doing more now. We got the graphic novel out, which has a photo shoot from the lovely and talented feisty Nicole Brown. She was the body model we used for the character Ocean, who wears, think of like Poison Ivy, but with just a couple less flowers, not as well dressed as Poison Ivy, or as cluttered with clothing, as I like to say. Anyway, Feisty in the real world has no body modesty whatsoever, so she cosplays as Ocean for us. So I thought, as a thank you, we put a photo shoot from all her modeling gigs in the book, contrasted with different comics, different things of Ocean doing stuff in the book, and it really came out good. I actually had a guy. He bought one copy for his comic book store. That he owns a comic book store. He bought a copy with the idea that he was going to sell it. And then he reached back out to me and goes, nope, can't sell it. I love it too much. He goes, when we get my doors fully open in a couple of weeks, I'll buy a box off you. And I went, okay, that'll work. So he's going to buy 25. We got that set up. So, but people like it. It's a good story, and it's a fun story. And so, I'm really proud to be a part of it. I mean, I like all the stuff I do. I like all the stuff that's out. I know what's coming out. Bob, Sins of the Sun is heading out in September. Story about the son of death wants to be a superhero in Chicago. So that's something different.
Well, Bill, I'm just going to cut in for a second because there's something that I think a lot of people don't know about you, and you actually do work with troubled youth.
Yeah.
I would love for you to touch on that a little bit too.
Well,
a little bit of time.
Yeah, I don't call them troubled youths. There's mentored kids that I talk to. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're kids who are having some trouble in school or trouble focusing on things. And really, that's it. It's just, for me, it's a matter of reprocessing the way they learn. And then they learn very well. And as a matter of fact, Southern Michigan University, SMU, green and the gold, they've started a thing where they target different areas where their kids are poor and get the better ones full ride scholarships. And I was part of getting several kids who would have been ignored because they didn't have enough money or didn't have enough, but they had the grades. They had 3.4, 3.5 out of a 4.0. They're A students. And so like 10 of them now have gotten full rides from SMU. and they're doing this nationally. It's not like hey, Bill's over there, let's go there. That's not that at all. But it's been a proactive thing that they've been doing to get the best of the best from students who would normally not get served. And I think it's a great program. And I know other colleges are doing it too, but they happen to be the one that I worked with briefly. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, because a lot of people, if they're reading your books and stuff, you almost get like that projected persona, but there's so much more behind the creator. And that's just something that I love, is how dynamic you are as far as the creativity and as far as the outreach.
Whoops, wrong screen. Meredith, my turn to take over. I want to do some house cleaning, just get a couple comments read, do a couple station identifications before we have our next guest in. So,
all right, cool. So, I missed the first part of what you said, Rob. Are we cleaning up? Are we finishing up with Bill?
No, I have reading comments. I have to show the fact we haven't shown in a while. The comments thing, because Varian's very strict on me when I'm to make sure that we're holding up the comment thing. Just the usual house cleaning stuff. Play some ads for some people, keep people happy.
Yeah. Well, Bill, you know all about that.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We've got about 4 more minutes left with you, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this. We are going to be updating the website. We're going to have your QR code so people know where to find you. Cool. But again, just give us a quick pitch, what it is that you do, your books, and where we can find you.
Yeah, well, obviously everything's up at BillMcSciFi.com. I wanted to touch on one thing. You were talking about the mentoring and working with the kids. I had a couple of kids who were transgendered, and they were looking for representation, and there isn't really any. There's a couple of ancillary characters like, I'm transgendered. You can't tell, you don't know. They're there. So I wrote a character called Savarchik. For personal reasons, I set it in Russia because Russia's my novel, The Brittle Riders, was bootleg there. They sold 35,000 copies and didn't pay me. So I wanted to upset them. And so I did that. But I worked with the kids, and we came up with a realistic transgendered superhero named Savarchik. And when I first came out, a lady drove 2 hours. The book only cost $2 because I packaged it so I can pretty much give it away. Lady drove over an hour, almost 2 hours, to come get me to autograph the book so she could turn around, drive back another 2 hours. And I found out later that she did that because she had a transgender daughter. And she wanted to show her daughter that she had something, which, by the way, she could have ordered online. I had it in a couple of days. But no, she did it this way. And she got an autograph, got it to the kid. And about 2 weeks later, I got an email from the daughter. And it was perfect because it was like you could hear the eye rolls of a teenage girl. She's like, well, I really kind of liked it. I mean, I know you're not like a friend of mine, but it was really nice. And thank you for writing it. So I could just hear the gum popping. It was great. So she's going to be a perfect woman when she gets older. She's 16, 17, She's a teenager.
That is a tough age.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said before, I'm a science fiction writer. I write in multiple genres or multiple markets, like comic books and novels and movies and short stories, anthologies. I even took a rip, and this is kind of fun, reimagined Edgar Allan Poe, and that ended up getting published in the Edgar Allan Poe Chronicles, which is nationally distributed, so that's cool. But I think if I have one weird highlight I'll share with you is that the University of Southern Illinois uses Legends Parallel to get people to understand the concept of a non-chronological multiverse. So that's fun. In other words, there's not 1,000 versions of me out there. There's just 1,000 Earths, and things have developed very differently on each of them.
Well, Bill, we're going to say goodbye. Again, anybody who's listening in, BillMcSciFi.com. That's BillMcSciFi. Not with the Y's, with the I's in Bill McSciFi. And again, we want to thank you for being a part of this show. We are going to have the timestamps on the website and your QR codes that's going to be directed to your site so that anybody who's listening in right now, you can go and visit INDEEvent.com. We will have those updated with all of our guests, timestamps, QR codes, and all that good stuff. Bill, I'm going to put you down into the green room here, and we're going to say goodbye as Rob takes over the controls. Thank you so much for tuning in. Rob, do you have a bump for us?
More cocaine. Oh, wrong kind of bump.